emergency broadcast. I see something that is about to unfold in Cleveland, Ohio, that is extremely disturbing to me. As I do in the morning, I get up and have my coffee every day, and I try to check to see the current events that are going on and do a little bit of research so that I make sure I get the most accurate information to my listeners that I can possibly get to you. This morning, I open up my email. I take the CNN notifications, not because I watch CNN News, but they're always, for lack of better terminology, operatives for the government to release certain information and to withhold certain information and to verb certain information in a way that keeps unrest or fear in the hearts of America and people around the world. So, and often misinformation is given out. But this morning I opened up my email with the CNN notification. Now, there's a couple of things going on in Ohio today. Aside from it being Memorial Day weekend, we have protests against Monsanto, and it's supposed to be a pretty big turnout. So I'm a little bit concerned about Dabu and some of the others, Dabu 7 and some of the others that have gone into Cleveland to protest against Monsanto. Now, in 2012, there was a police chase. There was a car chase, and there were, I guess it was like 60 police cars. They pursued a car for over 20 miles. The speeds reached up to 100 miles an hour. At the end of the chase, well, first of all, let me tell you what they're reporting the chase to have been started with. And then you have to question the events. This is from 2012 when this occurred. I'm not familiar with the story, but I am familiar with the way that CNN verbed it today. Pardon me, when they released the breaking news. So here it is. Supposedly this car backfires. There's 2 black occupants in the car, and I'm only using the color of the persons in the car because of what CNN reported today. And we've simply got to stop the mainstream media from race baiting. We have to. They put my life in danger. My brother, who is a police officer who happens to be white, they put his life in danger. They put my children's life in danger, and they put the black community in danger when they do it as well. They're emboldening the black community to be lawless and to validate their hatred that they have brainwashed them with as far as white privilege and the separation of the races. I personally am tired of it, and it's time for my black brothers and sisters and my white brothers and sisters and Hispanic people of all colors. If you're a foreign invader, I'm not going to invite you to this because you don't belong here and you're actually an enemy combatant. But regardless of what color you are, but I'm just saying, American citizens. Let's just go there. American citizens, people who are here legally, and those who were born here. We need to get together and stop this madness. We need to stop the mainstream media's lies, and we need to start holding those reporters accountable. I don't care what the government has instructed them to do. This is lawless, and it's inciting, and it's organized crime. They should be held on $1 million bond, in my opinion. It's also capital murder because every time they report like this, it causes lives to be lost. It further fuels the fire of hatred in the hearts of the black community against the whites and against the police officers. So there's an agenda here, and they want to call martial law. We already know that. We know what they're up to. We know what they're trying to do with the most recent attack, assault, and slaughter of innocent people in a parking lot that they're calling outlaws and thugs, and that would be in Waco, Texas, the bikers that they slaughtered last week. So apparently this bloodthirsty government is not satisfied yet, and they're trying to push us into confrontation that's going to start shutting down the states with martial law. They've already put the military in place. So now we're starting to see a little bit of what I see as a pattern or a bigger agenda is going into the states where they've already got the military set up, foreign troops, UN troops, and American troops alike with the equipment. They're already in place in these so-called exercises, and now we're starting to see the police and the mainstream media and provocateurs like Al Sharpton start provoking the public and causing unrest and using the less than intelligent black individuals to go in and become lawless and riot and loot and attack and trying to give them justification in that by furthering their own agenda. So they're using the black community, and I'm sick of that to begin with. And here's how the article goes. I'm going to get back to that, but I wanted to, get those things off my chest because I really feel like we're in trouble. And then in Ohio today, we could see something really, really, really bad unfold with the clashing of the protesters against Monsanto and the protesters that are angry and in the streets due to a verdict that was released for the trial of this police officer that killed these two people in the car chase. So let me just break to the story. You give me your opinion, your thoughts. Please share this with anybody and everybody that you know in Ohio. I need you to get a hold of those people and let them know that they need to be very, very careful while they're protesting against Monsanto, because there's another orchestrated event coming up, and this is Memorial Weekend, and we know that we're really looking for false flags or an actual incident that's been funded, orchestrated by the government, and they're using the mainstream media to help them do these things. So here we go. Let me just read the information to you. Here's what I received in the mail today. CNN breaking news. Listen to the verbiage, people. A white Cleveland police officer who stood on the hood of a car and shot the vehicle's two unarmed black occupants in Cleveland in 2012. Listen, that's an atrocity. I'm not saying that it's not. It really is. It doesn't matter. Black lives don't matter. All lives matter. And I'm not saying that black lives don't matter, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying that all lives are important. We can't segregate by color anymore. We can no longer allow this to be done. I can't continue to be angry at a black community when they're being used by a government to destroy America and to take lives. What I can do is I can stand up with those legitimate leaders in the black community and say, what can I do to help you? How can we help you collectively as brothers and sisters across the board? Because, like I said before, we all bleed the same color. I have a mixed family. And what they're doing is they're putting not only my white children in danger, but my black brothers and sisters in danger as well. So, and I have mixed race grandbabies, and I have godchildren who are of color, and I'm the godparent to several black children that I stepped up and said yes to the parents. If something happens to you, I'll be there for your kids, and I'll make sure they get what they need in life. So listen, we've got to stop this. But that is how CNN has worded this, and it's been with purpose. Knowing that there's so much unrest in the black community and the white community and the flash mobs and the whites being targeted. Listen, whites die at the hands of black police officers just like blacks die at the hands. And we got to quit separating that by color and really get to the issue, which is why are policemen killing people? It doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter what color the victims are. It's not a bigger problem in the black community. I'm going to report this again. We have by far a larger number of whites that are killed every year by police officers, regardless of the situation, whether the police officer was right or wrong in the taking of that life, whether they were defending themselves or society against a lawless individual that was a threat to human life and had made an assault on that. It doesn't matter across the board. I mean, it does matter. Don't misunderstand me. I'm just saying that's what we need to address. We need to address that issue and stop separating things by color. So here goes CNN. CNN, we know, are controlled by the government. Essentially, they're shields or operatives for the government to further the agenda globally. CNN is a global news channel. It's not just an American news channel. It's mainstream media. So let's go back to the story, and I'm going to read it to you again. And this should infuriate everybody out there. It doesn't matter what color you are. A white Cleveland police officer who stood on the hood of a car and shot the vehicle's two unarmed black occupants is how it's stated, was found not guilty today of voluntary manslaughter. Now, this is how it went down. Cuyahoga County Judge John P. O'Donnell also ruled that Officer Mike Brello, I don't know what nationality that is, but it doesn't sound white to me, but it is. He appears to be white, was not guilty of felonious assault. Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams were shot after a police chase involving more than 60 police cars. They were pursued for 20 miles, sometimes at speeds up to more than 100 miles per hour. The chase started after the car driven by Russell backfired, a noise that officers thought was caused by gunshots. And then it says, get the complete story by clicking on this link, which I'm about to do now because I want to share it with you guys, okay? Mike Brello, a white Cleveland officer, here they are again, who stood on the hood of the car and shot the vehicle's two unarmed black occupants. Okay? It's like, wow. They put such emphasis on that. See, here's the real tragedy. 2 people died. Somebody with a badge stood on a car after a police chase. Obviously, emotions are heightened, adrenaline's rushing, and he's angry. And he can't control his anger to the degree that he kills these 2 individuals. And this is what they're making this sound like. I don't know the circumstances or the details of this story, but I do know this. Why on a Saturday morning would they release verdict information on this type of atrocity that occurred? Why would they also use, in description, white officer, black victims, okay? Unarmed black individuals. It's all in the verbiage, the semantics. They're doing this to further the agenda of what we've seen them do across the board since Trayvon Martin, okay? It's unacceptable. The other thing is this. It's in Cleveland, Ohio. We know these idiots have already been prepped for this verdict that are going to be out in the street attacking whites, attacking police officers. And I can assure you that this weekend in Ohio and across the nation, there will be execution of policemen, and it will be at the hands of a black man or a black woman. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee it because this is a trend. This is a pattern. This is what we saw after Baltimore. This is what we saw after Ferguson. This is what they do. This is what we saw after the Trayvon Martin case. I'm not saying what the police officer did was right or wrong because I don't know the story. I know that they were in their car and that they ran. And if, in fact, their car was only backfiring, why did they run? If your car is only backfiring, why did they run? Of course, we're going to hear the argument, well, because they're black and the cops are chasing them. We all know, the cops get on your tail and you're black, you're going to die. Well, we have black people across the board that'll tell you that's a lie. They don't ever have a problem. They get pulled over. They're polite, with the officer, and the officer's polite with them. They're not getting beaten every time they, get pulled over. They're not getting shot. They're not getting murdered. They're not getting manhandled, pepper sprayed, tasered, or anything else. So one would have to question, A, why did they run? If it was, in fact, just a backfire coming from the car. And then one would have to question, why the hell would one officer, when there's 60 cars, climb up on top of the hood and shoot 2 unarmed individuals in a car? Why did he do it? Was he justified in doing it? Probably not. But the jury and the judge think he was. He wasn't convicted on any criminal charge, but then again, here we're going to have people come up and they're going to argue that they just keep getting away with it and nobody will prosecute them and it's such a corrupt system. And in some cases, yes, that is in fact the fact. But in other cases, they're actually not guilty of a crime. And I can use the Michael Brown incident. He was a thug. He had already strong-armed an individual and took what he wanted. He did what he wanted. His character was portrayed right there in the video, just, hours, not even hours, what was it, like 30 minutes before he confronted the cop, slugged him through the window of his own car for telling him to get out of the street. I mean, this is the mentality we have. We have so many of our youth, and it's not just the black youth, that are out there that have absolutely no respect for life or law. They don't have respect for themselves. They don't have respect for you. The lives that they put in danger. Listen, a 20-mile car chase at speeds over 100 miles an hour is an assault on everybody on the road with a deadly weapon. That's 2 or 3 or 4,000 pounds of steel traveling at a high rate of speed, and it just takes a second, no time to react, and an entire family is taken out, or the father, who's the only person who supports them, is taken out because he was killed by the idiot that was running from the cops. Listen, just pull over. Pull over. I don't like it either. I don't like the fact that they've created laws in my state that I wasn't consulted on, that I have to abide by or pay a penalty of extortion for. I don't like it either, but we have to change that. And we have to start at a municipal level. We have to start with our representatives, and we have to start with our states and say, you know what? I have the right to free travel. You can't tell me that I can't travel. I don't need to pay a taxation of or an extortion tax and register with the state to have a license to enjoy that right to travel. That's where we need to start working, not running from the cops. Okay, with that said, I'm gonna get back to the CNN story. But what I see that is a very good probability unfolding in Cleveland is a very bad situation. First of all, most liberals think we're idiots and that Monsanto doesn't exist and they're not being poisoned and their children aren't being poisoned by the food that we ingest, or the fluorides and the chemicals in the water, or, the chemtrails that are being sprayed in the air. We're nutcases because the government said so. It's okay. And they laugh at the idiots that don't believe it, and they laugh at us who absolutely know it's a fact, and they're like the bully in the schoolyard. So what? What are you going to do about it? Kind of attitude. So we've got protesters up there already on Monsanto in Cleveland. I find it very odd that on a Saturday morning, CNN would release this verdict. The government in Ohio, the judge, the media outlets would release this on Memorial Weekend on a Saturday morning, when they already know we have protesters in Ohio, and it's supposed to be a really, really, really big protest, and we know who Monsanto is. They create mustard gas and the other gases that have been used to take out whole villages over in the Middle East. They also produce the mosquito sprays, but they've gone one step further. The weed sprays, the poisons for crops and stuff that we ingest, but they've gone another step further. See, they've got this genetic modification in the seeds of the food that is grown. So when we eat our fruits and vegetables, which they really, if you think about it, have pushed for so many years, you have to have X amount of fruits and vegetables in your diet, X amount of grain in your diet. You have to have X amount of milk or dairy and X amount of water, and all those things are tainted and poisoned on purpose. It's genocide, it's population control, it's big money for pharmaceutical corporations, big pharma. There's big money in it. Big money in us being sick and disease, period. There's a cure for everything. And one of them is to take Monsanto out and make it illegal. In many, many, many countries across the globe, they do not allow Monsanto seeds because the genetic modification shuts the organs down in the body after ingestion of the food product that comes from those seeds. It causes disease, it causes malfunction in the system, and it causes allergies, it causes attention deficit issues, it causes so many things to go wrong in the human body because there's no real nutritional value in it. You then deplete the body of it's starved of the nutrients that it actually should be getting from the food. Listen, God gave us food to sustain our bodies. Pardon me, and we have chemists and scientists and New World Illuminati individuals that have for at least 100 years, made a ton of money off of making us sick and killing us off. And if you've ever had a small child that has been diagnosed with one of the many sarcomas or lymphomas that or brain tumors or leukemia, anything like that, and you've never had that genetically, that's what they call it, genetically. And that, by the way, I'll tell you about that. They're just tracking the devastation that it passes on from generation to generation because they're trying to sterilize and to mutate with purpose a malfunction in the genetic system of the body. So anyway, back to what I was saying. I'm sorry I got off on Monsanto because I was going to cover that today, but after the chase. I'm doing this off the hip. I'm not scripted. But I was just trying to explain to the people out there why Monsanto protests are happening in Cleveland. And I'm really not sure why they picked Cleveland, but they did, and here it is. So here we have a case from 2012. The verdict is released, just so happens, Memorial Day weekend, the very same day that we have a huge Monsanto protest planned in Ohio. And they're expecting thousands to show up to this protest, and they release this verdict. And CNN releases the verdict to the news outlets that are reporting on this as a white cop killing two unarmed black people. Same BS that they keep blowing up our butts across the globe. They just keep doing it. They keep doing it. They keep doing it. We've got to stop them. I want to file suit. I want to put CNN on notice as a white individual in America, and I want to put the government on notice as a white individual, the DOJ. Al Sharpton, I'm going to sue you too, that my life is being put in danger by organized criminal activists and activities, and that I propose that they be held on capital murder charges because lives are lost every time they do this. We see more cops being killed. Whites are being murdered by blacks at an alarming rate since the Saudi Muslim pig took over the office and wanted everybody to think that he's a black man with his ugly wife / he/she Michelle to further validate that. So he's not black. He's actually Middle Eastern, but nice try. Anyway, I propose that we sue them. I propose that we sue them and that we bind their lying lips through the news media because they're costing lives. Everyday assaults on whites by blacks is alarming rate. They won't report it on the news. People are losing their lives, and they're not discriminating by age or gender. They don't. They just don't. They're going after the elderly white person, killing them, playing the knockout game, beating them to death. They're going after we've had them shoot literally white babies in the face in strollers. Shoot a white baby 5 years old because it was a white baby in the arms of someone. Just shoot them in the face. Just shoot them in the head. No regard whatsoever just because they're white. So the media won't report on it any more than they'll report on the beheadings and enslavement and the abuse and the rapes and kidnappings that the Muslims are doing at an alarming rate in America. Fact. It's fact. Come after me. If you want to debate that, Islam, come after me because I can prove it, okay? And then I'll come back after you. At least it'll help me identify more of the troublemakers in that community. But anyway, so they released the verdict on a Saturday morning in Cleveland, Ohio. People, please, if you know somebody up there that's protesting for Monsanto, get on the phone. Do what you can to get a hold of them. If you have to do it through Facebook, you guys need to be making announcements in Facebook. I do believe they're trying to create a martial law situation up there. They did this with purpose. Who the hell releases a verdict like this on a Saturday morning? Okay, and who furthers the agenda of the government to help push martial law into place or whatever it is that they're, genocide? Doesn't matter. Whatever it is that they're doing. Who does that by releasing the news article saying, the white cop and unarmed black people? Listen, it was an atrocity. It was a police officer who killed two unarmed people in a car. That's how it should be read. Doesn't matter if they're black, doesn't matter if they're white, it's an atrocity, period. Doesn't matter if they're Spanish, Asian, it doesn't matter. What matters is that lives were lost, that a police officer did it. It was after a high-speed chase, and we need to find out why he did it and why he was found innocent. This is a 2012 case. This is 2015 and a half, if we want to be technical. We're almost at the half mark for the year. Why did it take this long for him to be tried when we've seen expedients in other areas concerning trials? Ferguson would be a for instance. Trayvon Martin would be a for instance. Why is this from 2012? Why was the verdict released today, Memorial Day, in a state where they're having a Monsanto rally? So we have to question that. I'm going to wrap this up because I know Bobby is doing a show today as well, and I have no idea what time, and it's going to be a live show, and I'll either bump him or he'll bump me. He didn't know I was doing the show. But, folks, I need you to go look at the articles. I need you to look them up. If you have people in Cleveland or Ohio or even across the board protesting today, it's Memorial Weekend. We know that the coup d'etat has been established. This is not a government for the people, by the people. These people have been placed there. They haven't been voted in. They were placed there. They're part of the New World Order agenda. Obama is the finisher. Eric Holder is one of his minions. He's a devil. So is the new appointee who took Holder's place. Al Sharpton. Listen, how that little thug, tax evader, murderer, inciter of violence has made millions off of doing what he does with the pitting the blacks against the whites. He needs to be arrested. He needs to be arrested. And I would like to ask people out there, put a bounty on his head. Put a bounty on his head for arrest. Not to kill him, but give a reward for somebody to make a citizen's arrest on this little pig. Really, seriously. I'm not saying put a reward out to kill him. I'm saying put a reward out for a citizen's arrest on this person. Whoever arrests him, let's hold him accountable. Let's arrest him for his crimes. Let's go ahead and find a constitutional sheriff that'll help you get this person incarcerated. And let's put, a $5 million bond on this pig. Let's put a $5 million bond on him for organized criminal activity, okay? And let's go ahead and put another $5 million on top of that for inciting violence and destruction of property and inciting murder, accessory to capital murder, because police officers are dying because of this pig. And let's just go ahead and get a pool together and start arresting these individuals that are doing that. Same thing with Eric Holder. He's not above the law. Let's go after him. Let's go ahead and arrest him. As citizens, we can do this. So let's get some creative minds out there and let's see what we can do about arresting them. How about that? And holding them accountable according to the color of law. Okay, and I'm not saying black and white. It is actually terminology in law. It's color of law. So let's go after them. Let's start arresting them. And let's, while we're at it, let's arrest Obama since he's not legal. Let's get him on charges of espionage. And let's go ahead and pick him up too. Let's just pick them all up and hold them accountable because that's what should be done according to law. Let's stop the madness. Mainstream media, you reporters, we need to put you on notice. Continue to incite violence in the way that you report or withhold information in the media, causing the loss of life, causing the attacks on citizens of America. Let's go ahead and hold them accountable. Let's arrest them for inciting, for aiding and abetting tyranny and all the other things that they're doing. Let's just hold them accountable. Let's hold everybody accountable. If you have to be held accountable in a court of law, according to law, then let's go ahead and start holding them accountable and stop being afraid of them. Let's go after them because fear is control. Again, I'm going to wrap this show up because that's a whole nother show I could do and I could be on here all day. Everybody knows how I feel about the things that are going on that follow me. I kept this clean today. I wanted you to get the message and I wanted you to understand that this cannot be tolerated. So please, people in Ohio, be vigilant. Dabu 7, brother, if you get this broadcast, if it's in your hands, I need you to do everything you can to inform your people that are up there doing what they're doing. I know you're supposed to be joining that protest today. I'm going to ask you and the other blogcasters and news streamers and tube channels, media personnel up there, get the word out in your group. Please be vigilant. Watch your surroundings, because it could go down real bad in Ohio one more time. And it brings me back to a song that I remember from the 70s, 4 Dead in Ohio. That's where they went in and slaughtered students who were protesting on campus. And that was the government who did that, the local authorities. So you guys be mindful and be vigilant up there. They just did that down here in Waco. Nobody's safe from anything anymore. This is Becky Williams with Rage Against the Regime podcast. I love each and every one of you. Have a safe holiday. Remember what Memorial Day stands for. Stand proud. Be a patriot. Be an American. And let's take our country back. Y'all have a blessed weekend.